Hello, I'm Antonio Mora. This is the newsandnews.com Day in Brief. Today's top stories in 4 minutes. It's Wednesday, September 5th at about 7 p.m. I am part of the resistance inside the Trump administration. That is the powerful title of an anonymous op-ed published by the New York Times this afternoon. The piece was purportedly written by a senior official in the Trump administration, and it describes an amoral president who makes reckless decisions and behaves erratically. The writer says that many senior officials are, quote, working diligently from within to frustrate parts of his agenda and worst inclinations. Going on to say, quote, we believe our first duty is to the country, and the president continues to act in a manner that is detrimental to the health of our republic. The op-ed confirms many of the themes raised by Bob Woodward's new book, which Trump today called a work of fiction. Trump also slammed the New York Times for publishing the op-ed, which he dismissed as really a disgrace and gutless. He later sent a one-word tweet saying treason, followed by a question mark. Sarah Huckabee Sanders attacked it as, quote, pathetic, reckless, and selfish, another example of the liberal media's concerted effort to discredit the president. She called the author a coward who should do the right thing and resign. You can't blame the White House for being upset, and some of the writing is upsetting, especially a section that reads, quote, the bigger concern is not what Mr. Trump has done to the presidency, but rather what we as a nation have allowed him to do to us. We have sunk low with him and allowed our discourse to be stripped of civility. Meanwhile, the Senate held its second day of hearings on Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh after yesterday's melodrama. The nominee was actually allowed to answer questions today, at least when the senators weren't preening for the TV cameras. Democrats tried to stop even that with parliamentary maneuvers intended to protest what they consider a GOP attempt to jam Kavanaugh through the Senate without providing enough information about him. The hearings continued, though, and like most Supreme Court hearings before it, provided few fireworks. Kavanaugh stressed his judicial independence and, like other nominees before him, sidestepped questions about how he'd rule on contentious issues. If today were a normal day, news organizations would likely be focused on the weather because extreme conditions affected many millions of people around the world. Tropical storm Gordon killed a child in Florida, even though the eye of the storm made landfall along the Alabama-Mississippi border. Its remnants prompted tornado warnings and are still dumping rain on the south, threatening flooding in 8 states. A typhoon ripped through Japan, killing at least 11 and injuring hundreds. It flooded the country's third largest airport. Making matters worse, it pushed a tanker ship into the bridge that connects the airport to the mainland. Some 5,000 people had to be evacuated by boat. Hurricane Florence, which for now is out in the middle of the ocean, became the first major storm of the Atlantic season. It's too early to tell whether it will hit the East Coast. And 2 other tropical systems are coming off the coast of Africa and need to be watched by the U.S. Meanwhile, more than 500 people were quarantined for hours on an Emirates plane at JFK Airport in New York after more than 100 of them reported feeling ill. Some were confirmed sick and taken to a hospital. No word yet on what caused this. Our daily alternate universes segment, The Great Divide Between Conservative and Liberal Media, is a continuation of yesterday's. Liberal outlets are spending much more time and print on Bob Woodward's book than their conservative competitors. On the left, the assumption is that everything Woodward wrote is accurate and that the White House is crazy town. On the right, the focus is on anything that might discredit Woodward and his book. I'm shocked to find bias is going on here, both on the left and the right. We at News and News try to bring you the facts and the different perspectives. You can find those stories and much more updated around the clock 7 days a week on newsandnews.com, where you will find all you need to know in one place. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking on the right of your screen just below this video. Please follow us on Facebook at Real News and News, and follow me on Twitter at AmoraTV. I'll see you again tomorrow.